questions. All right. Well, hello, Valentin. Thank you very much for coming in today. So I'm Matt, and I'll be conducting your interview for the logistics supervisor position. So I would like to learn more about your background, discuss a bit of your experience, give you an opportunity to ask some questions at the end if possible. So first of all, classic question. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you again for the opportunity. My name is Valentine. I'm currently completing my supply chain management program at Financial College, and I'm expecting to graduate this August. I also have an MBA and a master's degree in international business and a bachelor's degree in computer science. In terms of experience, I currently work at Toyota Town, where I deal with customers, coordinate different departments. I also, do other things on the side in terms of helping or offering consulting in terms of logistics. That way, I gained a little bit of practical experience in transportation, delivery coordination, customer service, and general business operations. At this stage in my career, I looking to focus on logistics and supply chains, which is why this logistics supervisor position really interests me.
hmm Well, yeah, thank you very much. And that kind of leads me into my next question. So, what interested you in applying for writer and the logistics supervisor position specifically?
What attracted me firstly was that Ryder is a well-established company in transportation and supply chain. I was also interested in the responsibility of this opportunity, this position, because they connect, with what I'm studying and the experience I've already gained in logistics and operations. I see this as an opportunity to bring current experience into larger organizations as rider, and also learn from an established logistic operation and, continue developing my leadership skills.
Okay, very nice. Yeah. And so you said that you work out of Noli's Logistics. So could you please walk me through your current role in general?
So at Vinolis Logistic, what I typically do, my role involves coordinating the day-to-day activities of the business. A typical day can involve reviewing delivery requirements, planning routes, communicating with customers, organizing schedule, keeping records, and also dealing with any issue that come up during delivery. Because it's a small business, I wear different hats at any given time. So apart from transportation, I also handle customer communication, documentation, invoicing, and general operational planning. That experience has taught me how important organization and communications are in logistics.
Okay, okay. Well, now we have a bit of a grasp on your background, so let me ask you some situational questions. So, how about you tell me about a time when a shipment or perhaps a delivery didn't go according to plan? So, what happened? What was the response? Perhaps what was some of the outcomes in that scenario?
There was a situation one time where a delivery was running behind schedule because of unexpected delay on the route. My first priority was communication, of course. I contacted the customer and explained the situation rather than allowing them to wait without knowing what was happening. I then reviewed the route and adjusted delivery plans so we could complete the delivery as efficiently as possible. In the end, the delivery was completed and the customer appreciated that we kept them in the loop. What I learned from that experience is that sometimes delay are, unavoidable when it comes to transportations, and good communications and good decision making can actually prevent, you know, a delay in terms of customer service
Mhm.
solutions.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right. And well, let's say, how do you prioritize if you have, for instance, multiple deliveries or urgent customer requests? How do you prioritize these tasks?
So I normally look at three things: urgency, customer impact, and available resources. I first identify deliveries that are time sensitive, then I look at the route and available resources to determine the most efficient order. If something changes during the day, I reassess the priorities and communicate with the customer or people involved. For me, the important thing is to stay organized and also remain flexible because logistics cannot always go exactly according to plan.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And have you worked with like warehouse staff, drivers, or transportation carriers? Like, what were your relationships with those people?
Yes, through my logistics activity, I have experienced working around drivers and transportation operations. I believe the relationship must be based on clear communication and respect because drivers are the people actually carrying out the transportation plan. I try to make sure expectations are clear, information is communicated properly, and if there is a problem, we focus on finding a solution rather than blaming someone. My manufacturing experience at Equals Brewery also gave me experience working as part of an operational team where coordination and safety were very important.
Okay. And so this position is responsible for meeting operational KPIs, right? So the what position that you're applying to currently. So have you worked with these kinds of performance metrics before? So key performance indicators.
Yeah, although the metrics are very dependent on the role, in
Hmm.
logistics, I pay attention on things such as whether deliveries are completed on time, customer satisfaction, and overall service performance. At Equals Brewery, production targets and quality were also important because we had daily operational expectations that needed to be achieved safely and efficiently. And I understand that in a larger organization such as Ryder, KPI are much more structured. I would be comfortable working with measures such as on time delivery, productivity, quality,
Hmm.
safety, and customer satisfaction, just because they help a supervisor identify where the operation is performing well and where improvement is needed, which, this is a key important you know, is very important when it comes to such organizations.
Of course, of course. Yeah, okay. So that really covers a bunch of it. So how about you can tell me perhaps about a mistake or difficult situation that you were into as a result of a mistake. So how did you react? What were your actions in that situation?
So earlier in my career, one mistake I made was trying to handle too many things myself instead of asking for
Mm-hmm.
assistance, or in this case, delegating some of the work. I wanted to make sure that everything was completely correct, but I realized that trying to do everything myself can actually slow down the operation. So I learned to communicate earlier, involve the right people, trust the right team members with the responsibilities. And that experience has helped me understand that good leadership is not about doing everything yourself, it's about making sure the whole team succeeds.
Wonderful. Okay. And of course, in our job, we interact with different customers. So maybe you could tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult customer.
So, one time in my sales experience at working at Toyota Town or working in the automotive sector, in automotive sales, as you may, I have dealt with customers who were frustrated because something didn't go according to their expectation. In one situation, rather than becoming defensive, I allowed the customer to explain the problem completely try I tried to do more active listening. I acknowledged the concern, checked what could realistically be done, and communicated with the appropriate department to find a solution. I also kept the customer updated instead of leaving them wondering what was happening. The situation was eventually resolved professionally, but that experience did teach me that when a customer is upset, active listening and communicating clearly can often reduce the tension between you yeah, sorry, can often reduce the tension between before me, so to speak, and also between myself and the customer. And it can also contribute to actually solving the actual problem itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, frankly, one technical question at the end. So this position works Friday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So would you be comfortable with that kind of schedule?
Y- Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
The flexibility, of course, I am comfortable with it. I have reviewed your schedule before selecting this position, and I'm comfortable working Friday into the weekend. I understand that logistics operation don't always follow a traditional Monday to Friday schedule, so flexibility is part of working in the industry.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for being here. And so if you have, those were all of my questions. So if you yourself have any questions about the job, I'm ready to answer them.
I just have one question. What would be the next step from here?
Well, usually, upon gaining experience, upon getting sort of exposure on the job, it would be a certain degree of career growth and perhaps the opportunity to take on, for instance, senior roles at our company. So that would be something very much up for consideration. Of course, this would require a bit of time, a bit of getting used to, a bit of getting familiar with each other, with our working and how we both work. But I do believe that that is very much a possibility for the future.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank you
you.
very much. All right. Well, have a good day.
sir. You as well.
Okay.